Welcome back to the Women's Basketball Summit, the online platform for basketball players, coaches, and parents. Today, my guest is Kelsey Hogan, who is the assistant coach at UNH. So, Kelsey, welcome to the call.
Hi, Jen. Thanks for having me.
So I'm excited to talk to Kelsey. For everyone listening, Kelsey and I grew up in Nashua, New Hampshire. Her sister played with me. Kelsey was a little younger than me. So I'm super excited to kind of touch base with you about what you've been doing since we haven't seen each other in a while. So I obviously know you played at Nashua High School. Then I know you went on to UNH. But just kind of talk about your experience playing high school and then moving on into college.
Yeah, well, I first want to point out, too, that Jen actually used to train me. We did some personal lessons and everything. She taught me a lot about my handle and everything, and jump shot, I will say. But yeah, I graduated Nashua North in 2008, came and wanted to play local, represent my state at the University of New Hampshire. Had a great long 6 years actually through the process. I was super senior, as people said here. My freshman year, I actually played in 3 games. That third game was actually against Yale. I remember that. Tore my ACL, was out the rest of the season. Next year, I actually had a full season back. First official practice, I actually retore it. So that's where I was actually had 4 more years of eligibility, and that's kind of when then I graduated in 2014, and actually was very fortunate enough to get pulled right on staff as an assistant coach here.
So going back to your injuries, because you and I lost touch, so I know you did injure yourself, but I didn't know the full story. I guess the good thing about your injuries is you did it so you could redshirt. You didn't do it too late in the season. But just talk about kind of like your mindset, your mentality. You've been training. I know you were strength training too when you were in high school training, and then you have, a devastating injury. You work your tail off to get back from it, and then it happens again. Just kind of talk about, because I'm sure there's athletes listening right now that have had injury, they're going through it, like just kind of words of wisdoms you could share.
Absolutely. I tell you, in high school, I was fortunate. I was never injured. And I'll knock on wood right now, but it was never, ever injured. So it was a shock for me, especially going out. I was starting to. I was getting a lot of playing time those first 3 games of the season. And just having a season injury and not being used to being on the court with my teammates who I've built such strong bonds, it was a struggle. I think mentally, more so than anything. And that year, it taught me a lot about myself, especially, too, my leadership role, because I was so used to being a point guard, the leader on the court, trying to get everyone on the page, and now I had to try to do that when I was sidelined. So it definitely helped me grow, and then coming back, I knew where I wanted to get to because I had a little bits and pieces of it with those 3-game stretch. I knew what I wanted to achieve to get back on the court. I missed it like hell because I had never had something that I was so passionate about be taken away from me. And that full year was, as I said, it was a struggle. Was able to get back. Felt like I was stronger than ever. I was actually in very good shape, even going back with my doctor. It was just that 1% re-tearing it, the same one. And it was funny. It was even kind of like they said, a freak tear. It almost like looked like it blew up. So it wasn't like my body was rejecting it in any way. It was kind of just almost like a freak happening. It was the last possession of the first official practice, I will say. I was just jogging. There was a loose ball, and it was kind of just rolling to the sideline. I slowly jogged, went down to pick it up, and that's kind of where I tweaked it. And I knew right then and there. I remember having a little freak out because I knew I did it again. But then I will say that year too, it was, okay, what is my role now going to be? I'm sidelined again. How can I still be that leader? How can I still be that great teammate? To not just help myself through the year, but to help my team get to where they wanted to be, and to help my teammates. So again, it helped me grow as a person. I think it even helped me as a teammate, a leader, all that, but it also helped my worth ethic. I thought I was a hard worker before, but I tell you that year definitely proved to grow on that. And it helped me shape it. Honestly, it helped me be someone now that I'm truly proud to be, honestly, with all that adversity. So what I would say, long story short, what I would say to young females kind of going through the ACL or the injury process or kind of going through adversity to, as cheesy as it says, never give up. Things happen for a reason, and you need to try as best as you can to hold on to all that possibility that you're going to see the end of the tunnel and just work through it, and you're going to grow through it.
Nice.
All the adversity, it's going to help shape you and grow.
That's some great advice. So you had basically 2 extra years to go to school too. Did you know that after your playing career was over, you wanted to go into coaching?
You know what? I actually thought I wanted to be a high school coach and teach. And that was kind of my journey and process academically. And then after my second year, and then I will say probably my sophomore year of playing, I knew that I wanted to coach, especially at the collegiate level, especially just basketball isn't just a sport. And I saw it firsthand through the adversity I went through that it helped me grow into a young lady and someone I'm proud to be. And I wanted to honestly teach young ladies the same thing.
It's great. So what are your responsibilities now as one of the coaches at UNH?
Yeah, so I'm actually the recruiting coordinator at UNH. Along with that, I do non-conference scheduling. So we play 13 teams non-conference every year. And then I'm also the alumni liaison. I do a lot of special events with our lovely alums, and I do fundraising as well.
So you're a busy bee.
I am. I like that. I try to be.
So obviously, like, the summer is winding down. Preseason will be starting back up. So with the recruiting this summer, I think that when I played AAU, there was one national tournament, and we had to win coming out of New Hampshire, and there was 2 top teams. We had to win the states to move on to the nationals. Nowadays, I feel like there's tournament, right, back to back showcases. What are your thoughts on kind of how AAU has changed? But then as you're recruiting, what are you looking at? Because these girls are stressed out of their mind. They're trying to impress you. They're probably exhausted from all the play. So just kind of as a recruiting coordinator, just wanted your thoughts on that.
I tell you, July is absolutely crazy. It is not even just for us, but for the athletes themselves. They go, from tournament to tournament, long weeks. And these tournaments aren't in their back door. They're traveling. And their families, unfortunately, are spending a lot of money. And the nice part about it is the exposure, because there are coaches. We are getting out. It's financially, it's not the best, obviously, for even our program, because we're a low mid-major Division I, but we get out there. And we're around, I will say. So July, I was on the road for 2 weeks, 2 hard weeks. That's all actually Division I's can truly do. And with that, it gets crazy, especially for families, because it's during the week. I don't even know how parents honestly go with all the work and everything. So props to them. And it's just a struggle, because it's very different than even what I remember. And you don't have to win out of your state. Any team can truly go to any tournament as long as they have the money. So it's a little financially, it's a little interesting. I will say that's. Do
you find that, I'm guessing that when you played, you had to win to keep going. There wasn't guarantee games. Do you find that this is a hard question that maybe do you find that the culture that we're leading, you just keep playing? It's a showcase, obviously, which is wonderful, because that's where you guys need. But I feel like by whether you win or lose and then you don't play, or you do play, it's teaching these kids not the best mentality. Because when you get to college, if you don't win, the coach is going to lose their job. Mm-hmm. Do you think, I don't know if I want, but do you think they should change the structure, or do you think it's good because, again, these kids get many opportunities for coaches to see them?
So I go back and forth, I will say. I think it does absolutely take away from the competitive edge, and that is a value that I look for in recruits, is just the ballers out there that will do anything just to get the win, the competitive edge, because I don't think you see that enough, especially this day and age. And I know I'm young, but I just think it's a whole different kind of generation too that I think are coming through. And it's almost like everybody wins, participation points. But I will say, on the flip side, there are some tournaments now that are getting more of the tournament, the win. If you win your bracket, you go to the winner's bracket, and it gets more competitive. And the things that I like about that tournament, those tournaments, I should say, is that they're competitive games, and then there is a kind of do or die mentality type of thing. So they're coming back around, I will say.
I love it because, I mean, you know this, when I played, high school in Nashua, like the starting team and then the second team, that was a battle every day. I mean, all 10 players probably played at the next level, but it was a battle. So, like, I feel like I'm under the mentality that, like, when you play, like, you're going out to win, and if you need to draw blood, you draw blood. So when you're recruiting, what are some, I know you just said you're looking for ballers, like tough kids. What other, like, characteristics are you looking for? Obviously, yes, you want to look for the talent, but what other, like, tangibles are you looking for?
Yeah, I mean, even just pinpointing talent, as I said, we're a low mid-major. I understand that. So talent sometimes is very hard, I will say, for us, that we're not going to get the most talented kid unless they want to stay back home in New Hampshire, stay close to home regardless. So it's a kid that has the potential, the upside, who may be raw at some things and things that we know that then we can develop within them. Some things that I mainly look at first from a standpoint is honestly some of the intangibles, meaning, are they a good teammate? How are they coming off the court? Are they still engaged in the game when they're off the court? And I know that sounds funny too, that I'm kind of observing what they're doing as they're sitting on the sideline, but are they engaged? Are they clapping for their teammates? When something goes good, are they cheering? Are they giving high fives? Are they helping their teammates off the court? Some things like that. And then I will say is I do like to see how kids adapt to adversity, meaning they just airball the shot. What are they going to do next? Are they going to slump and just stand there and not get back on defense? That's a big kind of key for me. Are they sprinting back? Are they going to get that next stop? It's the adaptability and how they deal with adversity throughout the game that I like. And also, too, I will say when I'm recruiting someone, I love to see their best game so you can kind of see the potential, medium game, and then the worst. I love at least seeing kind of 3 games of them in that live evaluation.
That's funny that you say that because Maria Nukas, who is a local New Hampshire kid also, she said that she wants to see these kids have their worst game because she wants to see how they react to it. So I just think that's funny and great that you're saying the same thing. So for all, like, the players and kind of parents out there that are listening and they're freaking out and they're stressing out because their daughter had, like, an awful game and all these coaches were there, just keep in mind what these college coaches are saying. They want to see how she responds. So yeah. I'm glad you said that. So what's the focus? Like you're saying, you kind of like a mid-major. What's the focus? Are you trying to recruit, like, New Hampshire kids, or what's, like, kind of, how do you sell UNH to the kids you're recruiting?
So obviously being from New Hampshire, I love trying to keep the local talent close. It's definitely turning around and we're getting even more competitive, I will say, with the talent level in New England. So it's actually gotten to be easier, and it's actually exciting too for me to see that basketball is coming back around and more competitive now, even in the public school, because I know prep school is huge now. But I love keeping local talent home as much as we can. Another thing too is the areas. We actually have had really good luck with Midwest kids just wanting to come out here and to this area as well. A draw point too, I will say, is our location. Just because we're kind of smack in the middle of, we touch the border of Maine, New Hampshire, all around. We have the White Mountains. We have the train station on campus to get you into Boston if you like the city, and then the beaches right there. So kind of a little bit of everything, which I love, and that's kind of why I'm still around here too, just because I love the area. But another drawing point too is just how much our university can offer academically for kids who sometimes aren't sure what they want to do freshman year. They can kind of test the water out, which I love. Which
is so important because these kids are not going to play basketball for the rest of their lives, so it's important.
Yes.
So obviously we talked about being a former player. You got injured. Do you think that helps you become, be a better coach, connect to your players on a different level?
It does, I will say, especially some of the kids. that have either gone through an injury or maybe aren't used to not playing because maybe they were the star in high school and now they're not getting as much time as they would like. So I can definitely relate. I think also too, my age, because I'm not very far removed. I'm getting there and I feel older, I think sometimes than I am. But my age and that I'm not very far removed as well, I think has helped for me to be able to relate to kids and kind of build those relationships that are built off of trust. And they understand that I care for them, not just on a basketball level, but on a more personal level as well.
Nice. That's some great advice. So as we wrap up the call, you gave some great kind of just knowledge and advice, but wrapping it up, anything else you want to share? If there's a player listening, coaches listening, parents, that you want to share with just your experience from being a baller and then now being a coach?
Absolutely. I think my biggest thing, especially not even just the injury aside, but finding the right fit for you in a college, is to, I don't want to say shop around, but look around. Go on as many visits as you can. See what type of fit works, not just for you athletically, but academically, because sadly enough, basketball is going to end someday, and you have to rely back on that education of yours to get you to the next level and to get you into the real world. But also, too, it's got to be your second home. As I said, of course, you love the sports. The team is huge. The coaching staff is huge. The family environment that the staff has along with the players is huge. But it's got to be that you love the school and you just love the university to death.
That's great advice. So for everyone listening, if they want to follow kind of your journey and the UNH girls basketball team, women's basketball team, can they find you guys like online to find out more about you guys?
Yeah, so you can actually go to www.unh.edu. We also, too, have a lovely Twitter and Instagram page that is UNH Hoops, and then WBB, UNH WBB on both. And you kind of see the experience that our student athletes have along with how much our university can offer a student athlete as well.
Nice. Kelsey, it's been great catching up, connecting, and I really appreciate you sharing your story because I think it can help, a lot of the athletes that are listening right now. So hopefully you and I will see each other soon.
Yes, I hope so. And thanks so much for all you do. For women in sports, Jen. Really appreciate it.
Thank you so much.